It is 5:32. This is the Human Resources Committee of the Nashua Board of Education. We're meeting by Zoom. It is Monday, November 30th, 2020. And I'll call the roll. Miss Timmons is not, she's having problems with the throat today, so I'm going to take her place, or try to take her place here.
Good. Doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. Miss Timmons?
Here.
And Miss Giglio?
I'm here.
And I think also here is Miss Brown. Did I
Yes.
see her? Thank you. And I'm Mrs. Oden and I'm here. So the first order of business is the personnel recommendations. Anybody have any questions about them? Okay. I'm looking for a motion to accept the personnel recommendations of November 30th, 2020.
I move that we accept the recommendations for personnel for November 30th, 2020.
Okay, do I have a second? Second by Ms. Timmons. Okay, let's do a roll call. Ms. Giglio,
Yes.
Ms. Timmons,
Yes.
and Mrs. Oden is yes. So that passes unanimously. Our second item on the agenda is administrative recommendations, and I believe we have Mr. Matthew Posca here as the new principal of Elm Street Middle School. So if we can let Mr. Posca in, that would be good.
I am here and present. Good evening, everyone.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Posca. It's nice to have you here.
Matt,
Pleasure to be here.
can
Yes.
you turn on your picture for us?
Oh, I'm sorry. How's that? A little bit better?
You look handsome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I guess we'll start off with, would you like to tell us and the public who's watching a little bit about yourself?
Yes, certainly. First of all, thank you for having me tonight. This is, it's certainly a significant honor. I've been in education my entire career. Both my parents were educators, longtime educators in the city of Lynn. My sister taught at the collegiate level. My brother teaches at a prep school in Illinois. And I have another brother who is an accountant. We're not sure where he came from, but for the most part, education is the family business. I was fortunate to start my teaching career in Lynn at the middle school level. I taught, middle school grade 8 history. Went to the high school, Lynn High School for 5 years, where I was doing a significant amount of coaching as well as teaching. And then I got into the administrative role. I became the athletic director in Saugus High School for 2 years. And then I became the assistant principal at Beverly High School for 2 years. And at that point, I thought I would be kind of looking for a high school principal job, but I was urged by the then superintendent in Beverly to apply for a middle school opening in Beverly. And I was fortunate enough to get that. And I stayed in Beverly for 14 years in that role. It became like a second home to me. I was excited to be there. And, one of the things that, I had opportunities to leave, and particularly the last few years, one of the things that kept me there is we were fortunate enough to complete a major building project. We went from we had an old dilapidated building. I'm sure you can imagine what it may have looked like. And we went to a brand new middle school, and we changed our configuration. We went from a 6-8 middle school configuration to a 5-8 middle school configuration. With about 1,400 plus kids in a new state-of-the-art building. And we brought that online in September 1st of 2018. And it was kind of a labor of love. And at the end of the day, I was really the only person who was part of that process from to the Mass State Board Building Association to really cutting the ribbon and opening it up. So tremendous experience, a tremendous amount of work too. And then I kind of had some opportunities. I was starting to look to leave, and I had let Beverly know I was going to start looking for some other positions so they could start looking to try to find a replacement for myself. And lo and behold, COVID-19 hit right when I made that announcement. So I'm very fortunate. I went through a process in June here in Nashua for the assistant superintendent position. And as I said to the other people, it was probably the most genuine and authentic process that I went through. I really enjoyed the process. I really enjoyed the people I met in that during that time period. So when this opening became available, I really didn't hesitate to apply for it because I really had a good taste in my mouth from the people I met and from the work that's occurring there. I know it's a little bit different now with COVID and what everyone's how we're trying to do things, but I'm really up for the challenge. As I kept saying to the people I spoke to, I just want to be an active member of the team. I want to make sure we do a little bit better today than we did yesterday. So I've been in education at the middle school level for a while now. I think I bring a lot of that experience to the table, and I'm looking forward to all the experiences that we're going to have up in Nashua at Elm Street.
Wow, thank you. And I'm sure your experience with the building the middle school down in Beverly, was it?
Yes.
That will help out
Yes.
a lot with the Elm Street building that we're replacing with the new middle school. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Posca? No? Okay. I guess they liked everything they heard, Mr. Posca. And quite frankly, I was on that assistant.
I think they want to have a quick meeting.
Yeah, no.
But
But no,
Beverly,
I was on that.
I actually have a,
Oh, you have a
I
question, Mrs.
I have a
Zim.
question. Can you tell us a
Well-
little bit about your, oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Zim. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Zim.
No, that's okay. You go, Miss Brown. I'll get to Miss Zim.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a athletic director and assistant athletic director? It looks like you've been doing that for a while. So are you?
Yeah, I mean, I have an athletic background. I did a lot of coaching. I was fortunate enough to play hockey in college at Merrimack. So I done a lot of that work in Lynn as an assistant athletic director at Lynn English, and then became the full-time athletic director in Saugus. And kind of I guess it's a funny story now, but I remember I got the job in August. I was excited to get into, jump into that role. And I remember right around this time, actually, it was in December, the superintendent brought me in and he said, hey, listen, he goes, I just want to let you know tomorrow in the paper, you're going to read that we're cutting spring sports. And I was a little shocked, and I left there, and he was very open. He was Dr. Keith Manville, great guy. And he goes, we're going to talk about it. That's going to be one of the recommendations. I just didn't want you to get caught off guard. So I remember leaving there and, kind of a shell shocked. I just had another child. I'm like, if they don't have athletics, they don't really need an athletic director. So we got to figure out how we're going to make this work. So it has been a labor of love. I do believe that athletics play a critical role in high school sports and some of the high school experience. It's a co-curricular, event. You can get a great opportunity to work not only with the teachers, but also the coaches and the parents to really, have that community feel to it. So always been something, that's been near and dear to, who I am. And, hopefully I'm able to, continue to watch the sports. And once they're back in New Hampshire and to witness that, because it's really in a lot of ways that's why I'm in my who I am. I have a strong athletic background and it's been very, very good to me.
Thank you. Miss Zim, you had the next question, I believe.
athletics has to be a lot more fun than administration, in my view. But what do I know? I was going to ask you. It sounded like Beverly must be a pretty large school system, and coupled. So I was going to ask you about the size. But I also was wondering, are you living in Beverly and you'll have to commute? Is that an hour from here or something?
Yeah, it'll be certainly a little bit longer commute than I'm used to. Geography major, I guess. So yeah, so a little bit longer commute, but it's certainly manageable. Beverly is, I think it's certainly not as big as Nashua. Probably about 50, 60. But there was just one middle school, so that had 5 elementary schools that funneled into
And
to
that's
one
isn't that
to
an
one middle
affluent-
school, and certainly.
that's elite? Is that an elite community? Property rich taxes?
I think there are certainly some nice sections in Beverly, but there were also, I think I think last year, I think my my numbers for economic diversity were about 29-30% of my students were on some type of free or reduced lunch. So it's certainly it's changed a lot over the years.
Thank you. Thank
Anybody
you and
else?
welcome.
Anybody else have a question for Mr. Posca?
Thank you.
I have one for Ms. O'Gara. There's an interim at Elm Street now. Will that interim be there for a while as Mr. Posca gets his feet wet at Elm Street for transition?
There's a per diem administrator at Elm Street who will transition with Mr. Posca. We've talked about that on the
Okay.
phone. Actually, Mr. Posca brought it up because he needs to catch up on what's been going on at Elm Street. So
Oh,
yes,
Bye.
there definitely will be a transition period.
Okay, thank you. That's good to hear. Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Dottie?
Miss Raymond?
Thank you. Hang on one second. I'm sorry about that. My office is in my dining room, and my husband's doing dishes, which is exciting, but also loud. So Dottie had asked my question about transitioning. I just was curious about your experience with remote learning and hybrid learning in Beverly during the pandemic thus far. Like what has your experience been, and how can you use that to help Nashua?
I think certainly it's remote learning is not perfect. It's not what we all want. I think up till March 17th around last year, we had never really thought about it, and all of a sudden we had to become experts with that practice in a short period of time. And I think we learned a lot during that period. One of the things that I did talked about this is that I think that one of the challenges is that you're planning for remote learning, then you're planning for hybrid learning, and now you're back to remote learning. And I think that's the kind of the yo-yo of what you're trying to deal with. And I think you really want to be flexible with that whole thing. And one of the things I talked about with my staff was what we're doing. We're trying to keep it keep it simple. Silly was one of the things I shared with the idea of being really flexible with what it is you're trying to do. We want to certainly teach the standards. We want to follow our curriculum maps, and we want to identify what it is we want our students to know and be able to do. But I think we have to be realistic with what we're dealing with here. And most important, we want to make sure we know who our students are. I think making those connections and building those relationships with those students is vital. I think, in some ways it may have been a little bit easier last year because we had already established those relationships. To have to get to know some students in a far different way to start the year is a challenge. And I think we're going to continue to have these challenges, is COVID kind of dictates what we are and are not allowed to do. So I think it's certainly going to be a challenge. And I think, I think those ideas have to be at the forefront as we kind of prepare for what it is we're doing, and really, supporting our staff as they try to battle through all this work that they're experiencing and supporting our same. It really is a significant challenge. And certainly it's not easy, but I think there's, hopefully some positive and some optimism for later in the year as we try to get a hold of this. But I think the next couple months are going to be a challenge for all of us as we experience.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So have you, sorry, Dottie, I just wanted to
No, go right
mention,
ahead.
have people warned you that several board members have children and grandchildren at Elm Street?
I haven't been told that yet.
Yeah, so you may be dealing with us with multiple hats on various days.
Well,
Looking forward to it.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Gilio,
Yes, I move that we hire Mr. Posca as the new principal for Elm Street Middle School.
for the 2020-21 school year at an annual salary
sorry.
rate of $107,300. Got that?
Sorry, I wasn't reading my
No,
script.
That's okay. Okay. Let's take a vote on that. Ms. Timmons,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes,
and Ms. Oden is a yes. And welcome aboard, Mr. Posca. I think Elm Street will be happy to have you there, and I wish you all the best of luck during these challenging times.
yes.
I can't wait to get started. You've made my night. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. So thank you so very, very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll see you around. Thank you, guys. See you
Okay.
tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm looking for a motion to adjourn unless there's something else.
Don't move.
Okay, looking for a second?
second,
Okay. Motion to adjourn, Ms. Timmons,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
yes.
and Mrs. Oden is yes. It is now 5:49 and the motion to adjourn has passed and we are now adjourned.